All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome and thank you so much for tuning in to the College of Education and Human Science Faculty Forum. This is the second day of the conference dedicated to showcasing our wonderful faculty and student efforts. So thank you again for your attendance. If you attended yesterday, then you know we were off to a great start. So we're hoping to keep that momentum going today with our faculty forums and student sessions. Today's session will focus on the Cultural Competence Advisory Committee. This committee was the vision of Dean Leslie Griffin. After the events of last summer, Dean Griffin wanted to do more in her college to let students and faculty know that cultural competence is not just a goal, but it is a daily mission. So here we are, the CAKE Committee, as we like to call ourselves. So who is the College of Education and Human Science Cultural Competence Advisory Committee? This committee is headed by Kat Vincent, Natasha Barnes, Corliss Snow, Jackie Goldman, Tim Watkins, and Ryan Floor Matthews. So first, we wanted to start with a little background as to how this all relates to the Winning the Race Conference, one of our first initiatives. The Winning the Race Conference is a 3-day experience that allows the university and community to collaborate in meaningful discussions around race relations and cultural competence. These are conversations that are necessary for growth at all levels: university, colleges, divisions, departments, classrooms, and relationships. Major components of what this conference represents center around one's self-awareness of biases and prejudices held, knowledge of different cultural groups and presenting issues, and skills to effectively work with and relate to different cultural groups. While the main focus of this conference is race and ethnicity, we aim to create a space that is open to all cultural backgrounds, age, religion, gender, sexual orientation, educational background, location, and any others, as we know that culture is multifaceted. So here are some of the strides that we've made as a committee to promote the Winning the Race Conference. We have worked in collaboration with the Winning the Race Faculty Engagement Committee Chair to revise assignments for faculty and staff to connect the conference sessions to their curriculum. We have also engaged in the new faculty orientation to present information about the conference while encouraging attendance and involvement. We've created a module in the Cultural Competence Canvas shell that focuses specifically on the importance of this conference to our cultural competence. And lastly, we have engaged in College of Education and Human Sciences Faculty Forum to share our efforts, encourage dialogue, and solicit ideas for continued growth. So after we present all that we've done today, please engage in dialogue with us about what we can do to make our college better moving forward. So now that we've talked about how we relate to the Winning the Race Conference, we want to show our deepest appreciation to our Dean Griffin. When she came up with this initiative, she gave us the charge to develop principles and ideas that we felt like were necessary for the college. And one of the things that came to mind was the dean is one person, and we have so many students who may or may not know exactly who she is. We know that she can't spread herself into all of our classrooms. So the best way that we felt like she could do so was to start to virtually engage with them. And it worked well because we're doing this virtual learning now because of the pandemic. So it was amazing to have her put so much time and effort into this video, put her own little twist and spin on it, and really show us and our students how committed she is to making sure that we know who she is and we feel that she's open and available to us. So we want to show this video clip so that everybody can see what our dean did for us. I think you have to unmute, Dr. Vincent.
Thank you. Yeah, it's kind of glitching over here. There we go.
Hello, everyone. As Dean of the College of Education and Human Sciences at Delta State University, I want to warmly welcome you to the fall 2020 semester. I've spent most of the summer in the office working with others on campus to prepare for the fall semester, but this weekend I've been at home in my kitchen where for the last 42 years I've been preparing meals for my family. And as I was thinking about this welcome, I thought it might be neat to do an analogy to cooking, because what we do in our school life is somewhat similar to what we do in a kitchen. You know, as a cook, and I spend a lot of time at home cooking for my family, I have learned that it's best to start with a menu in mind and good recipes that call for quality ingredients, and then to pretty much stick with that recipe, to follow it. Much as you will this fall, you go into your classes and you've got a good schedule because you've worked with an advisor and you have a syllabus that's going to lay out that course for you and give you your options and how you can perform best in class. So I'm excited that all of that's been prepared this summer for you, and I hope that it's all going to go well. But as I've learned in cooking, it goes only as well as my attention to it does. So keep your eye on the ball, or as I would in the kitchen, keep your eye on the oven or the pot that I'm stirring. But I know that quality cooking requires that we go back, we pay attention, we add, we take away, we baste, we turn the temperature up, we turn the temperature down, whatever it takes to adjust and get it just right. So pay attention to your classes, work closely with your faculty so that you'll have a great semester. And then the last analogy I'd like to draw to cooking is that I've learned over the years that the best meals are prepared with a lot of variety in mind. We don't just cook what we like. I can't just cook my favorite dish and please my family and those who come into my home. So I'm constantly looking for those foods and those strategies in cooking that will allow me to meet others' likes and needs and dietary restrictions and such. And in our college, we're working hard, knowing that we're all going through trying times. Some more trying than others. There's a lot going on in the world, and we know it's affecting each of you differently. But know that we're trying to find that recipe that works right for you and that you can help us get there. So let's work together this year. I look forward to that experience, and I hope you'll be able to meet me and visit with me in person. We can do that at a distance, or by waving as you come by and sending an email. I'm on the third floor reviewing and always available to you. Have a great semester.
Dean Griffin, we thank you. We thank you for the vision that you had to create this committee. We thank you for the efforts that you've given to this committee. You've been there and available to us every time we've called on you. So we appreciate you, and we know that that won't be your last video to our students and faculty. Thank you.
So I'm Dr. Vincent, and I absolutely want to echo Dr. Barnes's thanks to Dr. Griffin, because without her vision, we really couldn't have gotten this committee up and going. But I also want to, express thanks to my fellow committee members, because not only did Dr. Griffin issue this charge last summer, this committee picked it up, and it was summertime, and they willingly and eagerly took on this additional work, amidst everything else that was going on this summer. So I just wanted to give a shout out to my fellow committee members. Obviously, we all felt that this was very meaningful work, and we wanted to step up and step into it. So as we were given this task of infusing more cultural competence into our college, a few different areas came to mind for us. Not only did we want to embrace this in our pedagogy, into our classroom activities and whatnot, but we wanted to better facilitate everyone in our college, having this self-evaluation and reflection on, what diversity means to them, what it means to be culturally competent. How can we facilitate engagement in and out of the classroom, so also in those extracurricular activities and things of that nature. But where we decided to start off first was, creating an inclusion statement. And so I'll actually read that now. The DSU College of Education and Human Sciences is committed to creating an educational experience that infuses cultural competence and appreciation for diversity throughout all interactions. So we thought it was important for us to have this statement such that we could more overtly define who we are as a college and let students know that this is who we are. And so this statement has been included in all of our syllabi throughout the entire college. And as well, it helps to start those conversations in the classroom about, openness to different cultural perspectives, understandings, and having open and respectful conversations. We also wanted to make sure that we were more overt in, being aware of who our students are within our college and shining a light, not only online, but also in person. So Dean Griffin asked us to actually do this display board on the main gathering area on the 3rd floor of Ewing Hall, such that our students that were from different countries could see their flags and, have this representation right there in our central meeting area. So I'll pass it to Dr. Snow to talk about further our student population.
Thank you, Corley Snow. And as a part of my role with the committee, I want to make sure that we know exactly who we're interacting with, because if we're going to be culturally competent, we need to be aware of the different students we have and also of their identities, how they identify themselves. And we want to be respectful of those identities. So first of all, we need to know that we have students from all over the country, all over the world. We have several international students from Canada to South Korea to China, from the United Kingdom and Europe, and also from Kenya and Ethiopia. These students have chosen to come to Delta State. They're members of the College of Education and Human Sciences, and we need to be aware they're with us and that they may have some cultural aspects that we aren't aware of, but we're willing and open to learn. What do we need to do to make sure that we are treating you with respect and giving them the information that they need in a very respectful manner? Bringing it a little bit closer to home, we have students from all over the United States, from the East Coast to the West Coast, from Southeast, of course, where we are. And we even have them in the Plains states. And you know that even from Cleveland to Shaw to Greenville, if you're familiar with those areas right around us, people are different. They have different thoughts, different ideas. So of course, when we go from the East Coast to the West Coast, we're dealing with students who have different ideas and different expectations. We certainly want to engage with them to make sure we are meeting those expectations for the education and for the experiences that they receive with us. You may not be aware, but we have several students who speak languages other than English, even if they are learned languages. They learn Spanish, Swahili, they speak French, they speak English, of course, and also Albanian. So when you hear a student saying something that you may not recognize, don't assume the worst, just assume that they're practicing the language that they've learned. Of course, most of our information for the whole university talks about our racial combination, and the College of Education is very close to what the university represents as far as Caucasian and as far as African American students. But we also have students from American Indian descent, Asian descent, multiracial students. We have Hispanic students. So we're not going to polarize one to the other. We just need to know that we have students from all kinds of races, ethnicities, and they all deserve the respect for being a human being in this world. Additionally, our students may have sexual orientations or gender identities that are different from ours, but we need to be aware that most of them do identify as heterosexual. But we also have students who identify as bisexual, lesbian, some prefer not to disclose. We have gay students, pansexual, asexual, same gender loving, queer, questioning, and unsure. And as far as gender, of course, we have men, we have women, but we also have genderqueer or gender fluid students. That's their identity, and we want to make sure we engage with them in a respectful manner. Additionally, all of our students, even though most, have come from homes where their parents or someone within their immediate family have had college experience. But almost 9% of our students are the first to enter a college experience, and we have them right here within the College of Education. So they're going to need additional support, and they're going to have additional expectations. They may be expectations we can meet. They may be expectations that are far beyond what we can meet, but we always want to talk with them and assure, especially through advisement and interactions, that they're getting the information and the direction they need. And finally, we have students or children of veterans and even active duty personnel who are among us, a large number. And these students also have expectations and needs, and we need to interact with them on a very personal level, make sure they have the support that they need so that we can ensure that they are part of the family and that they feel that they are part of the College of Education and Human Sciences family. So as you can see, we are a very diverse, rich, vibrant College of Education, and we need to make sure that all of our students feel that they are part of our family, that we understand who they understand who we are, and we are interacting with them in a very competent manner.
All right, so part of the call or need that we noticed when we first got together as a committee, last summer was in the midst of the Black Lives Matter protests, and there was some major events that happened. We had students reaching out, and we wanted a way to communicate to our student body that came from our college that said that we see you and we're a voice for you. So we realized, some of our individual departments had their own social media pages, but the college itself didn't really have one unified space. So we created a College of Education and Human Sciences social media pages on Facebook and Instagram. Very active now. Todd Davis has a few graduate assistants who have kind of taken it over, and you've probably seen them on Instagram, the T-Rex running around. Very active, very engaging. And we're currently working with Michelle Johansson and the administration to make our social media page a place where we can share more about cultural competence, to be a voice, that communicates where our college stands and how we see, making our students know that we see what's going on and we see you. Our college is made up of a diverse group of folks. We have, it's not all one color, it's not all one background, it's not all one orientation. We have a mix of folks here in our college, which is what makes our college so wonderful. And so we want to communicate as a college that we see you, and we respect you and we understand you, and we are here for you even when you might feel like that's not the case. And so that was kind of the motivation behind our social media page there. Further, I'm the Safe Space Coordinator here on campus, which the mission of Safe Space, if you aren't familiar with Safe Space program, is to ensure that Delta State University becomes a more inclusive place for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and questioning folks by fostering a supportive learning and working environment. As Dr. Snow mentioned, from our recent survey, over 10% of our students identify as something other than, cisgendered or heterosexual. And so in order to meet those students and to create a safe and inclusive space, we at the college and the university level have been engaging in these safe space trainings to help faculty, staff, and even students become more aware of how to best support our LGBTQ folks. Many professors, including Dr. Barnes, have had me come in and host safe space trainings to their students. Our college is hitting the ground running as far as it comes to creating safe spaces for our LGBTQ folks.
Okay, our next goal, we were taking all of our self-evaluations that we had done concerning cultural responsive education. We were looking at the engagement around our campus and ways that we could get involved more culturally. We were looking at our pedagogy and thinking about all of our extracurricular activities. So we decided to put all of these together in a professional development module that we created this past semester. And we kicked it off this semester. It's open to the faculty now to participate with it through Canvas. We also feel that we created a module that brings awareness to cultural diversity to help us as a faculty to help meet all the needs of our students. On your screen, you see our Canvas homepage where we have it set up in modules. We've already heard like the welcome from the dean, but we also have definitions, common definitions of cultural responsive education that's pertinent to today, so that we're all, when we talk about things, that we are using the same definitions. You also get an opportunity in the Canvas module to do a personal reflection of your own experiences in this area. There's some reflection activities for you to participate in. Also, there's a culturally and linguistically diverse student state policy, which we read, and we took parts of that to build our ideas from that, so that we were building everything based on research. There's culturally responsive teaching. There's an overview of that with some innovation configurations that you can go to get ideas of how to incorporate culturally responsive teaching strategies into your own classroom and into your syllabus. There was a video created that kind of walks you through that innovation configuration to give you ideas of how you can plug in some activities into your class, maybe starting with 1 or 2 ideas and going from there. There's also a document in there because, as we heard from Corliss earlier, we have a lot of students that speak a lot of different languages. So there is a document in there that gives you some evidence-based practices for English language learners, so that you can look at that document as well and see some strategies to use with students that speak other languages. Also, in our module, you'll have links to the campus involvement engagement activities that are going on around our campus, and as well as student life. In the culturally responsive teaching innovation configuration, we all know that we have a very large and increasing population of diverse students coming from a variety of different cultures. Some of the essential components that you will learn about in the innovation configuration and things that you can incorporate into your classroom would be how to help have a multicultural awareness within your classroom, how to promote critical thinking with different cultures, looking at social justice, looking at how to solve problems, looking at cultural and language and racial identity. That's also discussed, and how to incorporate those ideas into your classroom, as well as how to make your classrooms more student-centered and have maybe a collaborative type teaching atmosphere in your classroom, how to get instructional engagement from students from various cultures and identity, how to scaffold the instruction within your room, even how to model particular things to your students. There's ideas in there for that as well. What types of materials are appropriate for students from various backgrounds, how to give responsive feedback. That's a big issue that we always face, is how do we give feedback to our students so that they can take action on that feedback and become the best student they possibly can and learn the material to the best of their ability. How to maybe develop your assessments so that they're more culturally responsive, as well as having high expectations for all students, because we know that is very important. Overall, our goal was to improve the environment for our faculty as well as for our students and meeting the needs of all. There are some other documents that are available to help you and to support you, and some of these documents we use to build this Canvas course module. And we got a lot of our ideas from CEDAR. We work with CEDAR. CEDAR is the Collaboration for Effective Educator Development, Accountability, and Reform. This is their job, or one thing that they work with is preparing teachers and leaders to implement evidence-based practices within a multi-tiered system of support, with everyone working together for common goals. There are a course enhancement module. There's a link there that you can go to, and it provides foundational knowledge related to culturally relevant education to maybe further your background on it and your knowledge, which it will have that list of common terms that I mentioned a little bit earlier with examples of how that's used in content areas. Also, there's a policy and practice portrait. That's a link to the document that I mentioned earlier, that this is what any educator preparation program needs to know to support teacher learning. There's also a center called the IRIS Center. It's there for you. They got a big module on diversity, where they have evidence-based resources to use for pre-service preparation and professional development programs to improve education outcomes for all children. You can incorporate some of those things into your courses and into your syllabi to add a little bit more diversity there. And then there's one more document called Promises to Keep. It's a report. It was designed to help states design and ensure that teacher and leader preparation prepares teachers to work with all learners. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ms. Ryan Fleur Matthews. So a part of what I do here at Delta State, I'm an advisor and instructor here in the exercise science department, which is the HPR department. It stands for Health, Physical Education, and Recreation. And I understand within some courses, it may seem a little kind of easier for you to kind of go through cultural and diverse teaching. Because of course, what I do a lot of health and fitness assessments. I teach exercise physiology, and a lot of what I do are fitness assessments with my students. And of course, with fitness assessments, we go through and we have to use different equations to analyze the data based on race and diversity in different cultural groups. That's how they would go through and analyze that data. But however, I also want to just show different ways for other instructors and staff and even students to get involved throughout campus. It's always easier to get stuck in a comfort zone, your comfortable way of teaching, or in your bubble in your office once you get done teaching. But it's also a great thing to get involved outside of just teaching, outside of just advising, and getting involved with campus and those student organizations. And that helps for you to better relay the information to the student, to better talk to them if they need stuff like emotional and support outside of class, along with the assignments. So you get a kind of a full understanding of what's going on with that student and ways to help them by being more involved with them just outside of the course. And also getting involved with these organizations help with you kind of being able to make some of your course content relevant, make it meaningful and relevant to them. So a way I have campus engagement up here, of course, to get involved with campus, you would start with you can start with our student affairs, Office of Student Affairs, attending sporting events, attending intramural sports events, even hosting hosting your own physical activity events. I'm big on physical activity and health, so if you want to do something outside of that, but I know a good way to kind of implement a walking club, yoga, even perform in some Tai Chi or Zumba. Student organizations you can assist with or kind of think about helping. We have Student Government Association, African American Student Council, International Student Association, the Social Justice Club. There are some honor societies and Greek or religious organizations. There are many more. These are just a couple I listed here, but also within the module, there's a list of all of them that are available within the Office of Student Affairs. Here you see on our College of Ed website, where we're still working to also get us a link to where you can click on that link and kind of easily for students, faculty, and staff to access that, to be able to access different resources, materials we have, and whatever we're kind of going on through our committee. So that's still a work in progress as well.
And so I know we have some faculty and some students with us right now. And so I wanted to open it up to everyone to see if anyone has any questions and or future suggestions for us. We genuinely do want to grow and progress and to do what's best for our college. So please feel free to unmute and share, or you can type into the chat.
Well, I'll go first. One thing that occurred to me, since we've now had this committee a year, and kudos group, you're just outstanding, nothing short of it. But I wonder about student representation, if it might be wise, or what you would think about having students each year join this group to add perspective and guidance, and how you might go about that if you think that's a good idea. Students are on board here and they maybe can weigh in.
Hello. So I saw the email, and then I told myself it's a good time to see what kind of work our community doing. So I am pretty surprised by the survey that we have more than 10% of students who identified them as not heterosexual. So I realize it is a diversity population, especially maybe it's new generation. So we do need to keep in mind we have a diverse students group. Just some comments.
Yeah, Dr. Griffin, I think that's a great idea to include students, because yes, we're professors, and for many of us, we've been out of what it means to be a student for so long. And so to have students come in and tell us, we might think that we're doing things right, especially with social media, we think we're in touch and we're not. And so to have students come in and, we might think that we're doing a great job representing certain groups, but if students feel like we're not communicating, or if we're not providing resources, or they're not being heard, I think it would be a great idea. In the fall or the summer, if we start soliciting, maybe like a call for people to nominate themselves or to nominate others to join the committee, I think that would be awesome. Yeah, I think it'd be a great addition.
I agree. And I have also heard just faculty who do have those close relationships with students that y'all were talking about, that students who are more diverse in many different ways have expressed to them individually how they would like to see their diversity reflected, maybe not just in their major, but in preparation for their career, and how it might impact them going forward. And so I think not only including the students, but having one of the topics or things that we look at is how programmatically they can have a voice in what could be done.
And in speaking to the other comment regarding not being aware of the students we have and their diverse identities, and I think it would be a very good idea for us to constantly post or put before in a graphic format, which seems to be more engaging, but each year at least, to let people know, or faculty within the College of Ed as well as students, let us know who we have in our great big old family. We're very diverse. So from year to year, we can do that.
something that comes up for me from this conversation is to make sure that as we do try to recruit students, that we do try to also pay attention to the diversity of the different levels, that students are in. So undergrad and grad, on campus, distance learning students, diverse students in lots of different ways. That, we really try to bring in lots of different people to the table to this.
And I usually post that data, but it's in SharePoint. So it's available to the College of Education and Human Sciences faculty. And I think if we make that a site that they can just pin, or a site that they can star, that they go to often, because that is a part of our accreditation standards, that we are recruiting diverse, high quality students. So that will help.
So I would like to share maybe some of the things that we're currently considering as far as future goals. It's a work in progress at this moment, so maybe some of you can help us start to flush this out. And so some of our future considerations, as you heard Dr. Tim Watkins talking about our Canvas module for faculty, that was really about, starting the conversation of cultural competence, making sure that we're all on the same page as we define it, and then also what do we do with that information. So, he brought in some really great resources on how we can start to be more mindful as we're setting up our courses. So we felt that the next step might be to do some professional development, once again in Canvas, at this time aiming it more inward towards ourselves as faculty and staff, to have a module on diversity, collegiality, and community in COEHS. So, our last module was kind of more about our students, but now we're considering making it more about us, and how can we continue to progress the culture that we have within the College of Education and Human Sciences. The next idea that we were having was trying to have kind of a formalized social media presence, kind of towards the end of the month, for potentially having a cultural monthly mashup that's once again just highlighting some of the things that we're doing at the university and our college. We do so many wonderful activities and events and, cool things in our classroom. And maybe because we are so busy doing these things, we sometimes aren't always the best at publicizing what we're doing. We get so busy doing our things. So it could be, diversity-based events that are happening, engaging classroom activities that, have a cultural competence component to it, different highlights and other things from the college. Just once again, to shine a light on the things that we are doing. We do hope to have a face-to-face event in the future. We're we're all just kind of seeing how things are going in the face of COVID. But that's something we feel that would be important, is having that human to human connection. So we look forward to potentially hosting something in the future. And then lastly, we would like to actually have a day assigned each week where we do have some sort of diversity posting, such that, we are, consistently putting out there, good research. It could be things that are happening globally. It could be things happening within the college, but that, on Wednesdays or whatever day it is that we choose, that we're consistent in, putting cultural competence out into our social media. So I would like to open it up to see if anybody has any thoughts on some of our future ideas here.
I have a question.
What are y'all thinking about in terms of the face-to-face event?
I believe that was just kind of a, you know, a group desire. That's where it's starting off right now, is just to have something in person in the future. And we're not sure what that event might be. And so I hope that we maybe get some good feedback after this presentation, maybe even asynchronously as we post this on social media in the future. You know, with cultural competence, a big piece of that is exposure and connection to others, you know, that are different from us. And so we just felt like having something face to face would lend itself better to those ideas there.
Right. You know, just recently I've been involved in a 17-member group that's been meeting, and I did not know all of the individuals in the group prior to its beginning. And I'm reminded that there is just so much more that we can bring to that meeting when there's a physical presence, and just getting to know folks is just, it's just different. And so I think you're right that planning something face to face as soon as it's safe to do so would be a really good idea, and love to sponsor something like that in the college, and even to grow where we're interfacing with others from other communities that could help us to stretch our vision and learn new practices. So exchanging ideas. So as you see opportunities, please make me aware of those. I'm going to be looking for the face-to-face opportunities in the near future.
And we have such a rich and diverse college in itself. You know, I could see some really fun events coming together, you know, between psychology and counseling, fashion, nutrition, you know, education. I think, you know, these could be really fun, but also just very educational.
I think when we were thinking about the face-to-face event, that it was absolutely a point of connection, because honestly, I don't know everybody in the college. Even though we have meetings and we hear names, we don't really have relationship with everyone in the college. And so I think these face-to-face events, or this face-to-face event, will allow us an opportunity to connect with people in a way that we haven't before. And maybe not for it to be always with a specific agenda, because usually when we meet as a big, you know, college, we're meeting with an agenda. We're getting ready to go into the new semester. And so we've got things that we have to address. And so meeting on a playing field where we're actually just there for the sole purpose of getting to know each other and being able to make those connections and gain an understanding of different perspectives as it relates to cultural competence. One event that comes to mind for me, I don't know if you remember Dean Griffin. I think it was like my first year here. They had just started the spring grant, and you and I talked about me writing something, and I wrote something up about a wellness day. But it was for the whole college, and I mean for the whole university. So just as we've been talking about this, it popped into my mind, maybe it didn't work for the whole college, because the whole university, because it was supposed to be for the college. And so maybe that's something that we can bring to the college as a face-to-face day, where we can just enjoy each other and enjoy figuring out how to make ourselves as well as we can be, because we do understand that to be culturally competent, there's a wellness factor in that. And we've got to take care of ourselves and be able to address our own stuff in order to be what we need to be for our students and for each other. So that's just one idea that popped up in my head, and anybody else that has them, please share.
Please hold on to that one so we can expound upon it. Don't let it go.
I love the idea of like a wellness fair, something like that. So it's just people can enjoy each other's company and also enjoy doing maybe some activities and things together.
Do you have a time frame in mind when you think about a wellness fair, just to push the needle up a little, you know, rev things up?
I mean, being that we don't really know exactly what's going on with COVID, I think we could say fall. I know that's when we were talking about having the first event was sometime in the fall. So I think maybe that would be a safe, time for us to think about. And then if it doesn't work out due to this pandemic, then we can obviously revisit that idea and figure out another time that may be most beneficial. But I think we were talking about in the group an event for maybe late fall.
I would encourage you as a group to explore that this spring and identify some things that you might need in order to move forward with that, just as part of advanced planning, if that is something that you do adopt and want to move forward with. I think there's some things that we could do this spring to help get that off the ground in pre-planning.
Thank you.
Any other thoughts, suggestions, questions?
I think I'll add, I mentioned this event and said for faculty, but I also think it would be a good idea to include our students in a cultural event or some type of event where faculty is involved, because I think that would help them to connect with us as well. They see us in the classroom, and some of them are not even seeing us in the classroom now, they're seeing us virtually. So I think that this event, if safe, could be beneficial for students as well to come and connect and get an understanding of different perspectives.
That's kind of what I was about to add. It being a faculty, staff, and student event, so they can interact with instructors outside of the course, and whether it's kind of, and also adding with wellness, like the mental and physical aspect of it, just overall, and just kind of, I don't know if that's a good way to say it, kind of getting comfortable being uncomfortable, because sometimes it may be uncomfortable for some instructors to kind of take that instructor head off, come in kind of and have outside of classroom conversations with students just about them, them giving their perspective and like honest insight on how they think you could help them and make the course better, how they think you can help make the course more cultural competent. So I feel like it'll be a great thing, because sometimes students aren't comfortable just telling you how they feel. On a survey, they'll say, because I do a little midterm personal surveys for students just to kind of see what they think is working, what's not working, how we could adjust some of my assessments or what's going on. Some will be completely honest, some will just, oh, everything's great, it's awesome. When I don't feel like it's awesome, I always know it's something can be better, but they're not comfortable. They're not comfortable directly telling you how you can really help them. But when you make them feel comfortable, however they may feel a little uncomfortable for you. So kind of getting out your comfort zone and giving them that space to interact with you in that type of environment. That'll be fun, and hopefully just figure out a way to get them to come out. That'll be good.
Well, so as we're kind of wrapping things up here, I do just want to thank everybody for coming and being in the session with us today or watching later. And please feel free to reach out to us. We are all in the directory on deltastate.edu, or you can post comments and things as well on social media. But we are genuine in that we want to continue to progress and grow in our college, and to have that, we really do need this collaboration from faculty, staff, administration, and students. So please feel free to be in touch with us. And just one last time, a huge thank you to Dean Griffin for having this vision and getting this going. We really did need to be more explicit about all of the things that we are doing in the college and how we can continue to do better. So thank you for giving us this place to be proactive and more mindful of cultural competence.
Well, I thank you all. You all are the ones who had the
the true vision here and put the feet to it and the action to it. And we're going to continue to build upon it. So truly exciting. Thanks, everyone.